May I have your attention for the next moments? I ask this not as a demand, but as an invitation into something that has been waiting for you, perhaps longer than you realize. My name carries a history of seeking, of listening to what the body whispers when the mind finally grows quiet. And tonight, I want to share with you something that will seem impossibly simple, and yet I have watched it reorganize the inner lives of those who were brave enough to try it. If you have ever felt disconnected from your own center, if you have ever sensed that there is a wisdom inside you that you cannot quite reach, if you have ever placed your hand on your belly and wondered why the ancients called this place the seat of the soul, then what I am about to share is for you. This is not coincidence. You are here because something in you is ready to remember. I have spent decades in the company of human suffering and human awakening, and I have learned this: the body does not lie. It holds memory, it holds knowing, it holds doorways that the rational mind has forgotten how to open. And there is one place, one specific point on your body that has been revered across every mystical tradition, every ancient healing system, every sacred text that understood the human being as more than flesh and bone. Your navel. The place where you were once connected to the source of all your nourishment. The place where life itself poured into you before you took your first breath. And tonight, I am going to show you what happens when you return your attention there, with intention, with reverence, with the understanding that this is not merely a scar, but a portal. Before we go further, I need you to do something for me. If this message is reaching you, if you feel even the slightest resonance with what I am saying, I want you to subscribe to this channel, not because I need the numbers, but because what we discuss here is not found in the mainstream. This is the knowledge that gets buried, overlooked, dismissed as superstition, and yet it is the knowledge that changes lives. The algorithm does not favor the mysterious, the subtle, the sacred. So when you subscribe, you are telling the universe that you want more of this. You are casting a vote for your own awakening. And at the end of this message, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to answer it in the comments, because your answer will not only help you integrate what you learned tonight, but it will help someone else who is walking the same path. And if you know someone, just one person, who is searching for their center, who feels lost in the noise of the world, share this with them, not as a casual gesture, but as an act of love. Because what I am about to reveal has the power to bring someone home to themselves. Now, let us begin. Let us talk about your navel and why what you do there can change everything. The navel is the first scar. It is the mark of separation, the place where the cord was cut and you became, in the physical sense, an individual. But in the deeper sense, in the symbolic and energetic sense, it remains a threshold. In the traditions of the East, it is known as the Manipura when we speak of the chakras, though it sits slightly above the navel itself. But the navel, the physical navel, is considered in many lineages to be the hara, the center of vital energy, the place where your life force gathers and radiates. In the Taoist tradition, it is called the dantian, the field of elixir, the cauldron where spiritual energy is cultivated and transformed. The ancient Egyptians understood the belly as the seat of emotion and intuition. The Greeks spoke of the omphalos, the navel of the world, the center point from which all things emanate. Are you beginning to see the pattern? Every culture that looked deeply into the nature of human existence arrived at the same place: the belly, the navel, the center. And yet, in our modern world, we have forgotten. We live in our heads. We live in our screens. We live in a constant state of disconnection from the body, and especially from the lower body, from the belly, from the guts, from the instinctual knowing that resides there. We have been taught to distrust the belly. We suck it in, we hide it, we shame it, we ignore it. And in doing so, we cut ourselves off from our own power, our own intuition, our own capacity to feel grounded and whole. So what happens when we return our attention to the navel? What happens when we place our awareness, our breath, our intention on this forgotten center? Let me tell you what I have seen. I have seen anxiety dissolve. I have seen chronic tension release. I have seen people reconnect with a sense of safety and presence that they had not felt since childhood. I have seen intuitive gifts awaken. I have seen physical ailments, particularly those related to digestion, elimination, and the lower organs, begin to heal. And I have seen something even more profound. I have seen people remember who they are beneath the layers of conditioning, beneath the masks, beneath the fear. This is not magic. This is physiology. This is energy. This is the wisdom of the body reclaiming its rightful place in your awareness. And the practice, the thing you must do on your navel, is breathtakingly simple. But do not mistake simplicity for lack of power. The most profound practices are always simple. They have to be, because complexity is a function of the mind. And what we are doing here is dropping beneath the mind, into the body, into the soul.
Here is what I want you to do, and I want you to do it tonight, before you sleep, and then again tomorrow morning, and then again every day for the next 30 days. Sit or lie down in a place where you will not be disturbed. Place one hand or both hands directly over your navel, not above it, not below it, but centered on it. Feel the warmth of your palm against your skin. Close your eyes and breathe. But do not breathe into your chest. Breathe into your belly. Breathe as if you are filling a balloon behind your navel, as if your breath is traveling all the way down into that deep, forgotten space. Inhale slowly and feel your belly rise into your hand. Exhale slowly and feel your belly fall.
And as you do this, place your attention, all of your attention, on the point beneath your hand, on your navel, on the center. Do this for 5 minutes, just 5 minutes.
And notice what happens. Notice what you feel. Notice what arises. You may feel warmth. You may feel tingling. You may feel emotion, sadness, grief, joy, relief. You may feel nothing at all at first, and that is fine. You are reawakening a connection that has been dormant. Be patient. Be consistent. This is not a one-time event. This is a practice, a returning, a daily conversation with the deepest part of yourself. Now, let me tell you why this works. Let me take you deeper into the mystery. Your navel is not just a physical landmark. It is an energetic hub. In the subtle body, the body of energy that interpenetrates and surrounds your physical form, the navel is a gathering point. It is where the lower chakras, the centers of survival, sexuality, and power, meet the upper chakras, the centers of love, expression, and consciousness. It is the fulcrum, the balance point. When you place your attention there, you are not just focusing on a spot. You are activating a network. You are sending a signal to your entire system that says, I am here. I am present. I am listening. And your body responds. Your nervous system, which has been locked in fight or flight, in the sympathetic overdrive that characterizes modern life, begins to shift. The parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system, the system of healing and integration, comes online. Your breath deepens. Your heart rate slows. Your muscles release. Your mind quiets. And in that quieting, in that softening, space opens. Space for insight. Space for healing. Space for the voice of your intuition to finally be heard. But there is more. There is an ancient teaching, one that I have encountered again and again in my work with the Akashic Records, with the soul's memory, and it is this: the navel is a portal to your past. Not just your personal past, but your ancestral past, your karmic past, the long thread of existence that stretches back to the moment you were formed in your mother's womb. When you were in the womb, everything you needed came through the umbilical cord: oxygen, nutrients, life itself. But also, and this is what we forget, information. Emotional information, energetic information. Your mother's fears, her joys, her traumas, her hopes, all of it flowed into you through that cord. And when the cord was cut, the physical connection ended, but the energetic imprint remained. It remains in your navel. It remains in your belly. It remains in the deep tissue, in the fascia, in the cellular memory. And so, when you place your hand on your navel and breathe, you are not just calming your nervous system. You are touching the archive. You are opening the library of your own becoming. And sometimes what arises is not comfortable. Sometimes you will feel old pain. Sometimes you will feel the grief of separation, the primal wound of being born, of being cut off from the source. Sometimes you will feel anger or fear or a sadness
that seems to have no name. Do not turn away from this. This is the healing. This is the release. Your body is showing you what it has been holding so that you can finally let it go. Breathe into it. Breathe with it. Place your hand on your navel and say, silently or aloud, I am here. I am listening. I am safe. You are reparenting yourself. You are giving yourself the presence, the attention, the unconditional witnessing that perhaps you did not receive when you needed it most. And in that act, in that simple, profound act, you are rewriting the story. You are healing the wound. You are coming home. Now, I want to speak to those of you who have struggled with anxiety, with the feeling of being ungrounded, of being untethered, of floating through life without a sense of stability or safety. This practice is for you. Anxiety lives in the head. It lives in the future, in the endless loop of what if, what if, what if. But the navel, the belly, the hara, is the antidote to anxiety. It is the anchor. It is the place that says, I am here, now, in this body, on this earth, and I am held. When you breathe into your navel, when you place your awareness there, you are literally pulling your energy down out of your head and into your center. You are grounding yourself. You are rooting yourself. And anxiety, which thrives in disconnection, begins to dissolve in the presence of that connection. I have worked with people who have suffered from panic attacks, from chronic worry, from the kind of anxiety that makes it hard to leave the house, hard to sleep, hard to function. And I have watched them transform through this practice. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily, gradually, as they learn to return to their center, to their navel, to their breath, again and again and again. The body learns. The nervous system learns. And over time, the default state shifts from fear to presence, from contraction to expansion, from chaos to calm. But let me be clear. This is not about bypassing your emotions. This is not about pretending everything is fine when it is not. This is about creating a container, a safe space within yourself where you can feel what you feel without being overwhelmed by it. The navel, the belly, is that container. It is strong enough to hold everything, your grief, your rage, your terror, your joy. When you breathe into your navel, you are saying to your system, I can handle this. I am not going to abandon myself. I am going to stay present, even when it is hard. And that is the beginning of true healing. Let me share with you a story. There was a woman who came to me many years ago, and she was suffering. She had been suffering for most of her life, though she hid it well. On the outside, she was successful, competent, admired. On the inside, she was a storm. She could not sleep. She could not eat. She could not feel her own body. She described herself as living in a fog, as watching her life from a distance, as if she were not really there. We call this dissociation, this disconnection from the body. And it is one of the most common responses to trauma, to pain, that is too great to be felt all at once. I asked her to do one thing. I asked her to place her hand on her navel every night before bed and breathe. Just breathe. She looked at me as if I were mad. She had tried everything: therapy, medication, meditation, yoga, retreats, healers, shamans, you name it. And I was telling her to put her hand on her belly and breathe? But she was desperate, and desperation makes us willing to try even the simplest things. So she did it. And the first night, she felt nothing. The second night, nothing. The third night, a flicker of warmth. The fourth night, tears. And by the end of the first week, she called me and she said, "I can feel myself again. I can feel my body. I did not realize how far away I had gone." That is the power of this practice. It brings you back. It brings you home. And the navel is the doorway, because it is the place where you first entered this body, the place where life first flowed into you, the place that remembers, even when you have forgotten, what it feels like to be connected, to be nourished, to be whole. Now, I want to take you even deeper. I want to talk about the navel as a center of manifestation, of creation, of power. In the chakra system, the third chakra, Manipura, is associated with personal power, with will, with the ability to take action and shape your reality. It is the fire in the belly, the drive, the determination, the courage to move forward. And while the third chakra is located slightly above the navel itself is the root of that power. It is the place where the fire is kindled. When you breathe into your navel, when you activate that center, you are stoking the fire. You are awakening your will. You are reclaiming your power. And this is not power over others. This is not domination or control. This is power power from within, the power to create your life, to make choices that are aligned with your truth, to say yes to what serves you and no to what does not. So many of us have given our power away. We have handed it over to our parents, our partners, our bosses, our culture, our conditioning. We have learned to please, to perform, to shrink, to hide. And in doing so, we have lost touch with the fire in our belly, with the knowing that says, "This is who I am. This is what I want. This is what I am here to do." When you place your hand on your navel and breathe, you are reclaiming that fire. You are saying, "I am the author of my life. I am the creator of my reality. I am not a victim of circumstance. I am a powerful being, and I am ready to step into that power." And the more you do this practice, the more you will notice shifts. You will notice that you speak up when you used to stay silent. You will notice that you set boundaries when you used to people please. You will notice that you take risks, that you follow your intuition, that you trust yourself in ways you never have before. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. This is the soul finally being allowed to lead.
But here is the paradox, and it is a beautiful one. The more you connect with your navel, with your center, with your power, the more you also connect with your vulnerability, with your softness, with your capacity to receive. Because the belly is not just the seat of power, it is also the seat of emotion, of intuition, of the feminine, receptive aspect of your being. It is where you feel, it is where you sense, it is where you know things that your mind cannot explain. And in our culture, we have been taught to distrust this. We have been taught that feelings are weak, that intuition is irrational, that the body is something to be controlled and overridden. But the truth is the opposite. Your feelings are information. Your intuition is guidance. Your body is a temple, a sacred vessel, a source of infinite wisdom. When you breathe into your navel, you are opening yourself to that wisdom. You are saying, I trust you. I am listening. Show me what I need to know. And your body will respond. It will speak to you in sensations, in images, in sudden knowings, in gut feelings that turn out to be right. You will begin to sense when something is off, when someone is lying, when a situation is not safe, even if you cannot articulate why. You will begin to sense when something is right, when an opportunity is aligned, when a person is trustworthy, even if it does not make logical sense. This is the intelligence of the body, the intelligence of the navel, the intelligence that has kept our species alive for millennia. And it is yours. It has always been yours. You have only forgotten how to access it. Let me tell you what happens when you do this practice consistently, when you make it a part of your daily life, when you treat it not as a technique, but as a relationship, a sacred conversation with the deepest part of yourself. You will begin to feel more grounded, more present, more here. You will begin to feel less reactive, less thrown by the chaos of the world, less dependent on external validation or approval. You will begin to feel more connected to your body, more at home in your skin, more comfortable with your own presence. You will begin to sleep better, digest better, breathe better. You will begin to notice that old patterns, old fears, old stories that have run your life for years begin to loosen their grip. Not because you are fighting them, but because you are no longer feeding them with your attention. You are feeding your center instead. You are nourishing your soul. And here is the thing that no one tells you, the thing that I have learned through decades of working with the unseen, with the soul, with the records of human experience. When you heal your center, when you reconnect with your navel, you are not just healing yourself. You are healing your lineage. You are healing the wounds that were passed down to you through your mother, through her mother, through the long line of women and men who came before you, who carried pain and fear
and disconnection in their bellies, in their wombs, in their bodies, and who had no way to release it. When you place your hand on your navel and breathe, when you allow yourself to feel, to release, to come home, you are breaking the cycle. You are saying, it ends here. I am the one who will heal this. I am the one who will remember. I am the one who will return to the center. And that is not a small thing.
That is a sacred act. That is a revolutionary act.
Because a person who is connected to their center, who is grounded in their body, who trusts their intuition, who knows their power, is a person who cannot be controlled, cannot be manipulated, cannot be sold a lie. And the world needs more of those people. The world needs you, centered, grounded, awake, alive. So let me ask you this, and I want you to stay with me because we are coming to the heart of it now. What would it mean for you to live from your center? What would it mean to make decisions not from fear, not from obligation, not from what others expect, but from the deep, quiet knowing in your belly? What would it mean to trust yourself that much? What would it mean to feel safe in your own body, to feel at home in your own skin, to feel connected to the source of your own life force? What would change?
What would you do differently? Who would you become? I will tell you what I have seen. I have seen people leave relationships that were slowly killing them. I have seen people leave jobs that were draining their soul. I have seen people move across the country, across the world, to a place that called to them, even though it made no sense on paper. I have seen people start businesses, write books, create art, speak their truth, stand up for what they believe in, all because they learned to listen to the voice in their belly, the voice that had been whispering to them for years, waiting to be heard. And I have seen people stay exactly where they are, but with a completely different energy, a completely different presence, because they are no longer abandoning themselves, no longer betraying themselves, no longer pretending to be someone they are not. They are simply, finally, here. And that changes everything. Now, I want to address something that may be happening for some of you as you listen to this. You may be feeling resistance. You may be thinking, this is too simple. This cannot possibly work. I have bigger problems than this. I need something more, something stronger, something faster. And I understand that. I do. We live in a culture that worships complexity, that believes that if something is easy, it cannot be valuable. But I am telling you, from the depths of my experience, from the countless lives I have witnessed transform, the simplest practices are the most powerful. Because they are sustainable, because they are accessible, because you do not need anything outside of yourself to do them. You do not need a guru, a teacher, a special cushion, a retreat in Bali. You need your hand, your breath, and your willingness to show up for yourself 5 minutes a day. That is it. That is the practice. And if you do it,
if you commit to it, if you approach it with sincerity and openness, it will change you. Not because I say so, but because it is the nature of the body to heal when we give it our attention, when we give it our presence, when we stop running and start listening. But let me also say this. If you are someone who has experienced significant trauma, particularly trauma that is held in the belly, in the womb, in the lower body, this practice may bring up difficult emotions, difficult memories, and that is okay. That is part of the process. But please, be gentle with yourself. Go slowly. If it feels like too much, back off. Breathe into your heart instead, or your feet. Find a place in your body that feels safe and start there. And if you need support, seek it. There is no shame in needing help. There is no shame in saying, I cannot do this alone. Healing is not a solo journey. We need each other. We need witnesses. We need guides. We need people who have walked the path before us and can say, yes, I know this territory. You are not alone. And for those of you who are ready, who feel the call, who sense that this is exactly what you have been looking for, I want to give you a challenge. I want you to commit to this practice for 30 days. 30 days, 5 minutes a day, hand on navel, breathing into your center. And I want you to keep a journal. Write down what you notice, what you feel, what changes, what arises, what releases. And at the end of 30 days, come back to this video and leave a comment. Tell me what happened. Tell me what you discovered. Because your story, your experience, will inspire someone else. It will give someone else the courage to try. And that is how we heal. Not just individually, but collectively. We share our truth. We witness each other. We say, I did this and it helped. And maybe it will help you too. Now, before we go further, I want to remind you, if you have not yet subscribed, do it now. This is the kind of content that does not get promoted. This is the kind of wisdom that gets buried under the noise. When you subscribe, you are saying, I want more of this. I want to remember. I want to awaken. And you are helping this message reach others who need it. And please, share this video. Share it with someone who is struggling, someone who is searching, someone who needs to come home to themselves. You do not have to explain it. You do not have to convince them. Just send it and trust that if it is meant for them, they will receive it. Let us go deeper still. Let us talk about the navel as a portal to the divine, to the source, to the mystery that cannot be named, but can be felt. In many mystical traditions, the navel is seen as the microcosmic center, the point that reflects the macrocosmic center, the axis mundi, the world tree, the pillar that connects heaven and earth. When you place your awareness on your navel, you are not just connecting with your personal center, you are connecting with the center of all things, the still point around which the universe revolves. You are touching the eternal, the infinite, the sacred ground of being. This may sound abstract, but it is not. It is experiential.
When you breathe into your navel, when you drop deep into that space, there comes a moment, if you are patient, if you are present, when the boundaries dissolve. When you are no longer just you, a separate self, a isolated individual. You are part of the whole. You are the breath breathing itself. You are the awareness aware of itself. You are the life force moving through all things. And in that moment, there is no fear. There is no separation. There is only this. Only now. Only the infinite presence that has always been here, waiting for you to notice. This is what the mystics have been trying to tell us for thousands of years. This is what the sages, the saints, the awakened ones have pointed to again and again. The kingdom of heaven is within you. The divine is not out there in some distant realm waiting for you to be good enough, pure enough, worthy enough. The divine is here, now, in your body, in your breath, in the center of your being. And the navel, this humble, overlooked, forgotten place, is one of the doorways, one of the thresholds, one of the places where the veil is thin, where the sacred and the mundane meet, where you can touch the mystery and be touched by it. So when you do this practice, when you place your hand on your navel and breathe, know that you are not just doing a relaxation exercise. You are not just managing your stress. You are engaging in a sacred act. You are praying with your body. You are meditating with your flesh. You are saying yes to the divine invitation to come home, to remember, to awaken. And what happens when you awaken? What happens when you remember who you really are, beneath the conditioning, beneath the fear, beneath the story of separation? You become free. Not free from the world, not free from responsibility or relationship or the challenges of being human, but free within it, free to choose, free to love, free to create, free to be yourself, fully, unapologetically, without needing permission or approval from anyone. And that freedom, that authenticity, that aliveness is contagious. It inspires others. It gives others permission to do the same. And slowly, one person at a time, one breath at a time, one hand on one navel at a time, we begin to heal. We begin to wake up. We begin to remember that we are not separate. We are not alone. We are not broken. We are whole. We have always been whole. We just forgot. Let me tell you about another person, another story, because stories are how we learn, how we remember, how we find ourselves in the experiences of others. There was a man, a businessman, successful by all external measures, but empty inside. He came to me not because he believed in any of this, but because he was desperate. He had tried everything else. He could not sleep. He could not find joy.
He felt like he was going through the motions of a life that was not his. I gave him the same instruction I am giving you. Hand on navel, breathe, 5 minutes a day. He was skeptical, but he did it. And after a week he came back and said, I do not understand what is happening, but I am crying every time I do this. I have not cried in 20 years, and now I cannot stop. I told him, you are not crying. Your body is crying. Your soul is crying. You are releasing what you have been holding for 2 decades, maybe longer. Keep going. And he did. And over the next months, I watched him transform. He did not quit his job. He did not leave his family, but he became present. He became real. He started making decisions from his gut, from his center, instead of from fear or obligation. He started saying no to things that drained him, and yes to things that lit him up. He started laughing again. He started living again. And all because he learned to put his hand on his navel and breathe. That is the power of this practice. It is not flashy. It is not dramatic, but it is real. It is deep. It is the kind of healing that lasts because it comes from within, because it is not imposed from the outside, because it is your own body, your own soul, remembering how to be whole. Now, I want to give you some additional guidance, some refinements to the practice, because the more you understand, the more you can work with it consciously, intentionally. When you place your hand on your navel, you can experiment with different hand positions. You can use one hand or both hands stacked on top of each other. You can use your right hand, which in many traditions is associated with the solar, masculine, active energy, or your left hand, which is associated with the lunar, feminine, receptive energy. You can try both and see what feels right for you. You can also add gentle circular motions, massaging your belly in a clockwise direction, which follows the path of the intestines and can aid in digestion and release. You can add sound. You can hum or tone or chant a simple sound like Om or Ah, and feel the vibration in your belly. Sound is vibration, and vibration is healing. When you make sound and direct it into your navel, you are literally vibrating the tissues, the organs, the energy centers, and helping them to release, to open, to come back into harmony. You can add visualization. You can imagine a warm, golden light in your navel, growing brighter with each breath, radiating out through your entire body, filling you with warmth, with peace, with vitality. You can imagine roots growing down from your navel into the earth, anchoring you, grounding you, connecting you with the deep, stable, nourishing energy of the planet. You can also work with affirmations, with intentions. As you breathe into your navel, you can silently repeat a phrase that resonates with you, something like, I am safe, I am centered, I am home, I trust myself, I am powerful, I am whole. Choose words that speak to what you need, what you are calling in, what you are affirming in yourself. And let those words sink in, not just into your mind, but into your body, into your cells, into the deep tissue of your being. And here is something else, something that may surprise you. You can do this practice anywhere. You do not have to be lying down in a quiet room. You can do it sitting at your desk. You can do it standing in line at the grocery store. You can do it in the car, at a red light. Anytime you feel anxious, scattered, overwhelmed, disconnected, just place your hand on your navel, take a few deep breaths, and come back to center. It takes 30 seconds, and those 30 seconds can shift your entire state, can bring you back from the edge, can remind you that you are here, you are okay, you are held. This is a practice that you can carry with you for the rest of your life. It is a tool, a resource, a refuge. And the more you use it, the more natural it becomes, the more automatic, until eventually you do not even need to place your hand there. You can just drop your awareness into your navel, into your center, and instantly you are grounded. Instantly you are present. Instantly you are home. Now, I want to speak to the skeptics, to those of you who are still not sure, who are still waiting for the catch, for the proof, for the scientific explanation. And I understand. We have been trained to distrust anything that cannot be measured, quantified, proven in a lab. But here is the thing. The body is not a machine. Consciousness is not a computer. There are dimensions of human experience that science is only beginning to touch, only beginning to understand. And just because we cannot fully explain something does not mean it is not real, does not mean it does not work. But if you need the science, I will give you some. When you breathe deeply into your belly, you are activating the vagus nerve, the longest nerve in your body, which runs from your brainstem down through your chest and into your abdomen. The vagus nerve is the primary pathway of the parasympathetic nervous system, the system that calms you down, that tells your body it is safe to rest, to digest, to heal. When you stimulate the vagus nerve through deep belly breathing, you are literally sending a signal to your brain that says, "We are safe. There is no threat. You can relax." And your brain responds by lowering cortisol, the stress hormone, and increasing serotonin and dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitters. This is measurable. This is science. But beyond the science, there is the lived experience. There is the testimony of thousands of years of human beings who have practiced this, who have known this, who have passed this down through lineages, through traditions, through the quiet, unbroken thread of embodied wisdom. And there is your own experience, which is the only proof that ultimately matters. Try it. Do the practice. See what happens, and then decide for yourself. I want to take a moment now to talk about the shadow side, because nothing is all light, and the navel, the belly, the center, holds shadow as well as light. This is where we hold our shame, our guilt, our undigested experiences, our swallowed words, our suppressed rage. This is where we hold the parts of ourselves that we have been taught are unacceptable, unlovable, too much, not enough. And when you start to breathe into your navel, when you start to open that space, you may encounter these shadows. You may feel anger that you did not know was there. You may feel grief that seems bottomless. You may feel fear that makes you want to run. Do not run. Stay. Breathe. This is the work. This is the healing. The shadow does not go away when we ignore it. It just grows stronger, more insistent, more destructive. But when we turn toward it, when we meet it with presence, with compassion, with the willingness to feel it, it transforms, it releases, it integrates, and we become more whole. Not because we have eliminated the darkness, but because we have made space for it, because we have stopped fighting it, because we have learned to hold it with love. This is advanced work, and it is not easy, but it is necessary. And the navel, the belly, is the place where it happens, because the belly is honest. The belly does not lie. The belly does not perform. The belly holds the truth. And when we are brave enough to listen, to feel, to be with what is there, we are set free. Let me also say this. The practice I am sharing with you is not a replacement for therapy, for medical care, for professional support. If you are struggling with serious mental health issues, with trauma, with physical illness, please seek help. This practice can be a powerful complement to other forms of healing, but it is not a cure-all, and I would never claim that it is. What I am offering you is a tool, a doorway, a way to reconnect with your own inner resources, your own capacity for healing, your own wisdom. Use it in conjunction with whatever else you are doing. Use it as part of a holistic approach to your well-being. And trust that your body knows what it needs and will guide you if you are willing to listen. Now, as we move toward the close of this message, I want to leave you with a vision, a possibility, a glimpse of what could be if you commit to this practice, if you make it a part of your life. Imagine waking up in the morning, and the first thing you do, before you check your phone, before you start the mental list of everything you have to do, is place your hand on your navel and breathe. Just 5 minutes. And in those 5 minutes, you set the tone for your entire day. You ground yourself. You center yourself. You remind yourself who you are, beneath all the roles, all the responsibilities, all the noise. Imagine moving through your day with that sense of center, that sense of presence. Imagine being in a difficult conversation, and instead of reacting, instead of defending, instead of shutting down, you take a breath, you drop into your navel, and you respond from your center, from your truth, from your power. Imagine being faced with a decision, and instead of overthinking it, instead of asking everyone else what they think, you place your hand on your belly and you listen.
and you just know, and you trust that knowing. Imagine going to bed at night, and instead of lying there, mind racing, replaying the day, worrying about tomorrow, you place your hand on your navel and you breathe, and you feel your body relax, and you feel yourself sinking into the support of the earth, into the arms of the divine, into the deep, restful, healing space of sleep. Imagine living like that. Imagine being that grounded, that present, that connected. It is possible.
It is not a fantasy. It is a choice, a practice, a commitment. And here is the beautiful thing. The more you do this for yourself, the more it ripples out. Your children will feel it. Your partner will feel it. Your co-workers, your friends, even strangers on the street will feel it. Because presence is contagious. Groundedness is magnetic. When you are centered, you give others permission to center themselves. When you are calm, you create a field of calm around you. When you are connected to your body, to your soul, to your truth, you inspire others to do the same. This is how we change the world. Not through grand gestures, not through force, but through the quiet, steady, sacred work of coming home to ourselves. So here is my question for you, and I want you to answer this in the comments, because your answer matters, because it will help you clarify your intention, and it will help others who are reading. What is one thing you hope will change in your life if you commit to this practice? What is one thing you are calling in? One thing you are ready to release? One thing you are longing to feel? Write it down. Speak it into existence. And then do the practice. Hand on navel. Breathe. 5 minutes a day. 30 days. And watch what happens. I am going to leave you now with a blessing, with a final word, with a sending forth. You are not here by accident. You are not listening to this by chance. Something in you is ready. Something in you is calling you home. And the path home is not out there, in some distant place, in some future time. The path home is here, now, in your body, in your breath, in the center of your being. Your navel is the doorway. Your breath is the key. Your willingness is the invitation. Place your hand on your navel. Breathe. And remember. Remember who you are. Remember where you came from. Remember that you are not alone. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are whole. You have always been whole. You are a child of the universe, a spark of the divine, a sacred being having a human experience. And your center, your navel, your belly, is the place where that truth lives, where it waits, where it whispers. Come home, come home, come home. May you find your center. May you trust your body. May you listen to the wisdom that lives in your belly. May you be grounded, present, and whole. may you remember. And may you share this remembering with others so that we all, together, can find our way home. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being willing to try something simple, something ancient, something true. Subscribe if you have not already. Comment below with your intention. Share this with someone who needs it. And most of all, do the practice. Your body is waiting. Your soul is waiting. The center is waiting. Go there. Breathe and be free. Blessings on your journey. Until we meet again. But wait, before you go, before you close this window and return to your life, I want to give you something more. I want to take you even deeper into the mystery of the navel, because there are layers upon layers here, dimensions of understanding that we have only begun to touch. And if you have stayed with me this long, if you are still here, still listening, still open, then I know you are ready for what comes next. Let us talk about the navel and the cycles of life, the rhythms of existence, the seasons of the soul. In the ancient traditions, the belly was understood as the seat of transformation, the place where one thing becomes another. Think about it. In the womb, cells divide and multiply and organize themselves into a human being. In the belly, food is broken down and transformed into energy, into life force, into the fuel that keeps you alive. The belly is an alchemical chamber, a place of constant change, constant becoming. And when you connect with your navel, when you place your awareness there, you are tapping into that transformative power. You are saying, I am ready to change. I am ready to let go of what no longer serves me. I am ready to become who I am meant to be. And this is not a one-time transformation. This is a process, a journey, a spiral. You do not arrive at enlightenment and stay there forever. You do not heal once and never hurt again. Life is cyclical. There are seasons of growth and seasons of rest, seasons of expansion and seasons of contraction, seasons of light and seasons of darkness. And the navel, the belly, the center, is the place where you can hold all of these seasons, where you can honor all of these cycles, where you can be with what is without needing it to be different. When you are in a season of darkness, when you are grieving, when you are lost, when you are struggling, the practice is the same. Hand on navel, breathe. But now, instead of trying to fix it, instead of trying to make it go away, you are simply being with it. You are saying, I see you, darkness. I feel you, pain. I am here with you. And in that presence, in that willingness to be with what is, the darkness begins to shift. Not because you have forced it to, but because you have stopped resisting it, because you have stopped running from it, because you have finally turned toward it and said, you are part of me too. And when you are in a season of light, when things are going well, when you are happy, when you are thriving, the practice is still the same. Hand on navel, breathe. But now You are anchoring that joy, that aliveness, that vitality into your body, into your center, so that it is not just a fleeting high, but a deep, rooted, embodied experience. You are saying, I am here for this too. I am present for the good as well as the hard. I am not going to numb out, check out, or take this for granted. I am going to feel it fully, savor it completely, and let it nourish me from the inside out. This is what it means to live from your center. This is what it means to be grounded in your body. You are not trying to control life, to manipulate it, to force it to be a certain way. You are simply showing up again and again with your hand on your navel, with your breath in your belly, with your awareness in your center, and you are saying, I am here. I am present. I am willing to feel it all. Now, let me speak to something that I have not yet addressed directly, and that is the relationship between the navel and creativity, between the belly and the birth of new things. Whether you are creating art, or a business, or a relationship, or a new version of yourself, the process is the same. It begins in the belly.
It begins with a stirring, a longing, a sense that something wants to come through you, wants to be born through you. And if you are disconnected from your belly, if you are living in your head, if you are cut off from your center, you will miss it. You will override it. You will talk yourself out of it. You will say, that is not practical. That is not realistic. That is not what I am supposed to do. But when you are connected to your navel, when you are breathing into your belly, when you are listening to the wisdom of your body, you will feel it. You will feel the pull, the call, the invitation, and you will have the courage to follow it, even when it does not make sense, even when it scares you, even when everyone around you thinks you are crazy, because you will know in your gut, in your belly, in your center, that this is yours to do. This is yours to create. This is yours to birth into the world. And the process of creation, whether it is a painting or a poem or a child or a life, is messy. It is uncomfortable. It is uncertain. There are moments of doubt, moments of fear, moments when you want to give up, when you want to go back to the safety of what you know. And this is where the navel practice becomes essential. Because when you are in the midst of creation, when you are in the labor, when you are in the transition, you need an anchor. You need a place to return to, a place that says, you are okay, you are safe, you can do this, keep going. Place your hand on your navel, breathe, and trust. Trust the process. Trust your body. Trust that what wants to be born through you will be born in its own time, in its own way. You do not have to force it. You do not have to control it. You just have to show up, stay present, and keep breathing. I want to share with you one more story. And this one is about a young woman who came to me years ago, pregnant with her first child, terrified of the birth. She had heard all the horror stories,
all the tales of pain and trauma and things going wrong, and she was convinced that she could not do it, that her body would fail her, that she would not be strong enough. I taught her the navel practice. I told her, every day, place your hand on your belly, on your baby, and breathe. Connect with your center. Connect with your power. Connect with the ancient, primal, feminine wisdom that has been birthing babies since the beginning of time. And trust. Trust your body. Trust the process. Trust that you are designed for this. She did the practice. Every day for the remaining months of her pregnancy, she placed her hand on her belly and breathed. And when the time came, when the contractions started, when the labor began, she did not panic. She did not tense up. She did not fight it. She placed her hand on her belly. She breathed into her center, and she rode the waves. And she gave birth naturally, powerfully, beautifully. And afterwards she told me, I have never felt so strong, so alive, so connected to myself and to the universe. I did not know I had that in me. And I said, you always had it. You just needed to remember. You just needed to come home to your center. That is the power of the navel. That is the power of the belly. That is the power of your center. It is not something you have to acquire or earn or achieve. It is already there. It has always been there. You just have to remember. You just have to return. You just have to place your hand on your navel and breathe. Now, I want to address one more dimension of this practice, and that is the relationship between the navel and time. We live in a culture that is obsessed with time, with speed, with efficiency, with getting more done in less time. We are always rushing, always hurrying, always trying to get to the next thing. And in that rush, we lose touch with the present moment. We lose touch with our bodies. We lose touch with ourselves. We are always somewhere else in the past or the future, never here, never now. But the navel, the belly, the center, is the place of the eternal now. It is the place where time stops, where the past and the future collapse into this single, sacred, infinite moment. When you place your hand on your navel and breathe, you are not thinking about what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. You are simply here, now, feeling your breath, feeling your body, feeling your aliveness. And in that presence, in that nowness, something miraculous happens. You relax. You let go. You stop striving. Stop struggling. Stop trying to control everything. And you realize, this is enough. I am enough. This moment, exactly as it is enough. This is the antidote to the anxiety, the overwhelm, the burnout that so many of us are experiencing. We're trying to do too much, be too much, achieve too much. And we are exhausted. We are depleted. We are running on empty. But when you come back to your center, when you place your hand on your navel and breathe, you are refilling the well. You are recharging the battery. You are reconnecting with the source of your own life force, your own vitality, your own energy. And from that place, from that centered, grounded, present place, you can move through your life with more ease, more grace, more flow. You can do what needs to be done without burning yourself out. You can give to others without depleting yourself. You can be in the world without losing yourself. Let me also speak to the relationship between the navel and relationships, between the belly and connection. When you are disconnected from your center, when you are living in your head, when you are cut off from your body, your relationships suffer. You are not fully present. You are not fully available. You are not fully you. You are performing. You are people-pleasing. You are trying to be what you think the other person wants you to be. And that is exhausting. And it is inauthentic. And it does not work. Because people can feel it.
They can sense when you are not really there, when you are not really showing up, when you are not really being yourself. But when you are connected to your center, when you are grounded in your body, when you are breathing into your navel, you show up differently. You show up as yourself, fully, authentically, unapologetically. And that is magnetic. That is attractive. That is what creates real connection, real intimacy, real love. Because when you are present with yourself, you can be present with others. When you are honest with yourself, you can be honest with others. When you are grounded in your own center, you do not need the other person to complete you, to fix you, to make you whole. You are already whole, and from that wholeness you can meet them, not from need, but from choice, not from desperation, but from love. And here is the beautiful paradox. The more connected you are to your own center, the more you can connect with others. The more grounded you are in your own body, the more you can be present to theirs. The more you trust yourself, the more you can trust them. This is what it means to have healthy, conscious, mature relationships. It is not about losing yourself in the other person. It is not about merging or codependency or trying to become one. It is about two whole people, two centered people, two grounded people, choosing to walk together, to share their lives, to support each other's growth. And that begins with you. That begins with your hand on your navel. That begins with your breath in your belly. That begins with your willingness to come home to yourself. I want to take a moment now to speak to those of you who are healers, teachers, caregivers, those of you who give so much to others. You know who you are. You are the ones who are always there for everyone else, always listening, always supporting, always holding space. And you are exhausted. You are drained. You are giving from an empty cup, and you do not know how much longer you can keep going. I see you. I honor you,
And I want to tell you, you cannot pour from an empty vessel. You cannot give what you do not have. And if you are not taking care of yourself, if you are not nourishing yourself, if you are not connecting with your own center, you will burn out. It is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. The navel practice is for you. It is your lifeline. It is your anchor. It is the thing that will keep you sane, keep you grounded, keep you connected to your own life force, even as you are giving to others. 5 minutes a day, that is all I am asking. 5 minutes with your hand on your navel, breathing into your center, refilling your own well. And from that place, from that nourished, replenished, centered place, you can give to others without depleting yourself. You can hold space for others without losing yourself. You can be of service without sacrificing yourself. This is not selfish. This is essential. This is the difference between sustainable service and burnout. This is the difference between being a martyr and being a healer. Take care of yourself, connect with your center, and then from that fullness, from that overflow, give to others. That is the way. That is the path. That is the practice. Now, as we truly begin to close, I want to leave you with one final teaching, one final piece of wisdom that I have learned through my work with the soul, with the unseen, with the eternal. And it is this: your navel is not just a connection to your personal past, to your mother, to your birth. It is also a connection to the collective past, to the ancestors, to the long lineage of human beings who have walked this earth before you. Every single one of us was once connected to our mother through an umbilical cord. Every single one of us has a navel. This is universal. This is what makes us human. And when you place your hand on your navel, you are not just touching your own story. You are touching the story of humanity. You are touching the thread that connects you to every person who has ever lived, who has ever been born, who has ever taken a breath. And in that connection, in that recognition, there is a profound sense of belonging, of kinship, of not being alone. You are part of something so much bigger than yourself. You are part of the great web of life, the great tapestry of existence. And your thread, your story, your life matters. It is woven into the whole. It is essential to the pattern. And when you heal yourself, when you reconnect with your center, when you remember who you are not just healing yourself. You are healing the collective. You are healing the ancestors. You are healing the future generations who will come after you. This is sacred work. This is holy work. This is the work of a lifetime. And it begins with something so simple, so humble, so accessible. Your hand on your navel, your breath in your belly, your awareness in your center. Do not underestimate the power of this practice.
Do not dismiss it because it seems too easy. The most profound truths are always simple. The most powerful practices are always accessible. And this one, this practice of connecting with your navel, with your center, with your source, is one of the most ancient, most universal, most transformative practices that exists. So I leave you with this final invitation, this final challenge, this final blessing. Commit to the practice. 30 days, 5 minutes a day, hand on navel, breathe, and watch what happens. Watch how your life changes. Watch how you change. Watch how the world around you begins to shift, to soften, to open. Because when you change, when you heal, when you wake up, everything changes. Not because the external circumstances are different, but because you are different. You are centered. You are grounded. You are present. You are whole. And from that wholeness, from that centeredness, from that presence, you create a different reality. You live a different life. You become a different person. Not someone new, but someone more truly yourself than you have ever been. This is my prayer for you. This is my hope for you. This is my vision for you. That you will find your center, that you will trust your body, that you will listen to the wisdom of your belly, that you will place your hand on your navel and breathe. And in that simple, sacred act, you will remember who you are. You will come home. You will be free. Go now. Do the practice, and may the journey be blessed. May the path be clear. May the center hold. And may you always, always find your way home. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being willing to walk this path with me. I honor you. I see you. I bless you. And I trust that you will take what you have learned here and use it, not just for yourself, but for the healing of the world. Place your hand on your navel. Breathe. And remember, you are whole. You have always been whole. You are a sacred being, a divine spark, a child of the universe, and your center, your navel, your belly is the place where that truth lives, where it waits, where it whispers. Come home. Come home. Come home. Until we meet again, may you walk in peace, in presence, in power. May you be grounded in your body, rooted in your truth, connected to your source. May you breathe deeply, love fully, and live authentically. And may you always remember, the path home is not out there. It is in here, in your body, in your breath, in your center. Blessings, blessings, blessings. The journey continues. The practice awaits. Your center is calling. Answer it. Honor it. Return to it again and again and again. This is the way. This is the path. This is the practice. Hand on navel.
breathe, and be free. Amen, and so it is.